Well, when I say I am, you say more than I am. Now that he has told my business, I didn't realize, not yet, sweetheart.
Oh, you want me to say
not read. You know, there's my children. They like to follow me everywhere. But now that he has told my business, didn't know that you were going to bring that part out. I am more than. Now, I have to issue my disclaimer. I am more than a black woman. I do not subscribe to the stereotype that we are all angry and that, you know, that we're so independent that we don't need a man, because I would like one. Thank you very much. For the past 23 years, I have been trying to arouse this sleeping giant, our children, right? I've tried screaming, I've tried painting. And so I just said, you know what? I'm at the point now where I'm just gonna wake up everybody. No more sleeping in bed. Y'all know that song? Come on now. No more backwards thinking. It's time for thinking ahead. This world has changed so very much from what it used to be. There's more hatred, more bias, bigotry, countless wars, and 46 million people living in poverty. 1.6 million children living in emergency shelters. This world has changed so very much from what it used to be. Now, we have all subscribed to the noxious, rude, and narcissistic behavior that our children are engaging in, right? And it came in like a wrecking ball, and all it did was, Tori, wreck me. Some of my youth, right? We have continued this legacy, Chief Murphy. We've allowed it. What's up, my niggas? Oh, where my bitches at? Where my hoes? This dehumanizing legacy that we have allowed, right? There's this marginalization with the homeless, the working poor, the at-risk kids, the thugs, the gangbangers, the mentally ill. We've allowed this, right? There's a school to prison pipeline that we have constructed where we suspend children and then we funnel them down the pipeline. We sell them out. 60% of them are black and Latino. For minor infractions, they're kicking them out of school. If the grave doesn't catch them first, Trayvon Martin, did you know that he was suspended? Not many of us did. And so there's this silence. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to tell you that this evolution not only has been televised, it's been Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, LinkedIn, Googled, right? And we all of us, have succumbed to this bystander effect, where we have seen it happen, we're seeing it happen, we're witnessing this, and we're just standing by. We want to help, but we don't know what to do, right? When I say I am, you say more than I am. I'm not a bystander. In 2012, I decided Michelle Browder was through with Montgomery, Alabama. I'm ready to pursue my career in Chicago, where Chirac, they call it. I was ready to go. But unfortunately, I was born to a family of extremists. My mama, who's in the audience, is an extremist. Yes, she is. Let me tell you how extreme she is. This woman would torture us, and make us work for free during summer. Maxwell Air Force Base, I took care of all of those colonels' babies. I did, for free. And then she made us go to the Veterans Administration. Lord have mercy, why? Dietary. Those guys don't want no Jell-O. You know, and I'm thinking, okay, I didn't know that we were supposed to get paid for work until I turned 18, and when I got my first check, it was like $100, but I was so grateful. And my dad, he is an extremist. He was the first black chaplain for the state of Alabama by none other than segregation today, segregation tomorrow, segregation forever. George Wallace appointed my black daddy as the first black prison chaplain for the state. And I'm a daddy's girl, so everywhere my daddy went, that's where I wanted to go. So guess what? I spent a lot of time in Tutwiler. I did. Draper, Red Eagle, all of them. And he actually believes, Matthew 25, the scripture says, when I was hungry, you gave me something to eat. When I was thirsty, you gave me something to drink. When I was a stranger, you took me in. And when I was in prison, you came unto me. And I never will forget, one night I woke up and I stumbled over an ex-offender. Because in the state of Alabama and other places, if you're released from prison and you don't have a home plan, they keep you, right? So my dad, in his infinite wisdom, you don't have a home plan? I plan to take you home. So there was this lady laying there one night, and I recognized her from Tutwiler. And I stumbled over her, and I'm thinking, oh, God, someone please call 911. Someone please call 911. And when she woke up, I thought, my God, she's an escapee. But actually, my father brought her home. And her name was Chaka. Now, I'm not talking about big-haired Chaka, Chaka Khan. Let me rock it, Chaka. I'm not talking about her. I'm talking about Chaka, the hatchet lady. She killed people. And one day, my parents, in their beautiful, infinite wisdom, with their loving, kind hearts, left us with Chaka. And I'm thinking, okay, yea, though I walk through the valley of shadow of death, I will not fear no evil, for thou art with me. And I just mustered up the courage to ask her, Miss Chaka, I guess I was about 12. I said, Miss Chaka, what did you do? And she says, she began to talk about the sexual abuse, the mental abuse. And it was just she couldn't take it anymore. She had a mental breakdown. And at that moment, I didn't see her AIS number. I didn't see murderer across her chest. I saw a broken woman. And I was able to connect with Miss Chaka. And I love her to this day. And I thank God for those experiences because I am more than. So, I decided to stay in Montgomery, Alabama. And what I did was I heard about this gentleman who was arguing cases on behalf of the indigent, the poor, the marginalized. And it was a case they were challenging in Washington, D.C. They were challenging sentencing young children to die in prison at the age of 13 and 14 years old. The constitutionality of it. Can we do this? And I thought, wow, I would want to take some of my disfavored bad butt kids to see that there are consequences to their actions. And so what we did was we took 56 young people, and 10 of them were adults. They act like kids too, to the United States Supreme Court. And once we got there were some white students there, and they were looking over at my students, and they were like, oh my gosh, what is going on? Because we had on our red and black, we had our I am more than bracelets on, and everybody was just, oh, what's going on? So I saw that one of the chaperones was looking, and she was very inquisitive, and she said, what's going on? And I said, well, this is who we are, and this is what we're trying to do. And before you knew it, my students began to surround their students, and they began to have fun and talk to each other, and we gave them I am more than bracelets, and it was just a wonderful time of community. Come to find out, the lady that I was speaking with was the daughter of the author Marvin Zaforin, Born to Raise Hell. Brilliant man, look him up. And so once we returned back to Montgomery, one of my students stood up, and the Montgomery Advertiser came and was, the Maid, yes, stood up and said, Miss Browder, we need more. And I'm thinking, what are you talking about? 76% of Americans are working poor, and I'm in that 76%. We need more. She says, yes, I want you to teach me how to get out the ghetto. Teach me how to be an entrepreneur. Teach me how to talk to my Korean friends, kamsahamnida. Teach me how to be a better person. I cannot make this stuff up. This really happened. You can talk to us. We need more. And I thought, wow, Michelle need more. Michelle is trying to get out of here. And I thought, how narcissistic and selfish are you, where we stand back and we see these atrocities happening, right? And I heard her cry. So what I decided to do was we kicked it up a notch. We started the I Am More Than Youth Initiative. And that initiative is empower, invigorate, motivate, educate, stimulate our young people into becoming vibrant citizens. Oh, there it is. Let's see. So our first project was There was a legislator who wanted to fine young people for wearing their sagging pants, but I, for one, did not agree with that. So I went to my kids and I'm like, look, they're getting ready to fine you $100 for showing your drawers. It's unconstitutional, we couldn't do this, blah, 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 right? So I said, why don't we come up with a PSA? And this is what it said. You ready?
The capital city is working with a new campaign to stop what they call public indecent exposure of sagging pants. CBS 8's Heather Vaclav has the big story on CBS 8 News Weekend at 10. There is a proposed bill in the state legislature to amend Alabama's constitution, making it illegal to wear your pants down low in Montgomery. Now, this bill passed in the House and has yet to be voted on in the Senate. So in the meantime, the Montgomery City Council is taking a different approach to clean up the city from people in saggy pants.
You need to man up and
pull your pants up.
This is part of
Thank you. That's it. Right? Something so simple. Pull your pants up. That's not even cute. Right? But my students, my girl Sydney, I said, Sydney, rally up some kids and get them. We got to get this message out, because if not, that school to prison pipeline for minor infractions is just going to grow. We did that. And then the next thing we did, one of the kids, when we had our discussion about what we could do to, be better people and be more active and engage in our communities, one of the kids stood up and said, Miss Michelle, first of all, I just want to say, why we always got to talk about Martin Luther King Jr.? So I said, okay, what else do you guys need? And one kid stood up and said, well, let's talk about this Willie Lynch letter, because we still out here killing each other. Let's talk about that. So I said, okay, we need a forum. And what we'll do is we'll call it edutainment. It's education and entertainment. And we had our first forum June 1st, 2012, and our guest speaker was none other than Brian Stevenson, who argued the case in Washington, D.C. The kids were floored, right? Somebody thought enough of them to come and speak to them. So we have these forums and speakers and the first one, you guys should have been there. You should have seen black and white folk and Chinese and Korean down at the riverfront doing like this. I'm like, really? The Indians came and we were all trying to do yoga. It was hilarious, hilarious. So we have this diverse forum every year where children are getting up, and it's all student-led. It's a wonderful event. And then we said, okay, more takes money. So I thought, well, wouldn't it be wonderful to have a place where we can teach entrepreneurship, where we can teach young people how to greet each other and others, where we can connect professionals with young people who want to shadow them in their businesses. So I said, okay, well, I can cook some mean soul food. Let's just bring it back. And for one day out of every month, you can come there and eat for free, because we want to use it as a teaching tool, right? So what we did was we went to the old Martha's Place downtown. We acquired that building, and now it's called the More Up Cafe, where young people can come on any given Friday and Saturday night, and this is what you will see and hear. Come on, sweetheart.
Wake up, everybody, no more sleeping in bed. No more backwards thinking, time for thinking ahead. 'Cause the world has changed so very much from where it used to be. There is so much hatred, war, and poverty. Wake up, all the teachers, time to teach a new way. 'Cause they're so tired of what they have to say. 'Cause they're the ones that's showing up and the world is in their hands. So when you teach the children, teach them the very best you can. Show me a smile then. Don't be unhappy, can't remember when I last saw you laughing. If the world is too crazy, you can count on me when amazing amazing grace. How sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see your true colors shining through. I see your true colors, and that's why I love you. So don't be afraid to show your true colors. You're beautiful. Thank you.
On any given Friday or Saturday night, we wanted young people to have a place where they can display their talents so that they can, encourage one another. And we had to cut out some of that twerking because it wasn't working. So, and you can also get some of the wonderful slave food, we call it. And there's another thing that's what I'm trying to teach young people is that their voices, they can use their voices as a catalyst for change, right? So when we heard about the 8 failing schools, we thought, okay, no, this is not going to work. Because most of the students are thinking, okay, if my school is failing, then therefore I must be failing, right? We no longer have that conjunction, junction, what's your function? Y'all remember that? Schoolhouse Rock? Now we have Beyonce with her colorful self talking about, I don't know much about algebra, but I know 1 + 1 equals. I wouldn't tell nobody that, and if she sees this, baby, I'm sorry, but I wouldn't tell nobody that. So why won't we just connect our young people with people like Major Ken Burnham from Maxwell Air Force Base, who can tutor them and help them with their studies, right? And while we're all standing around here debating Common Core and charter schools, 1.2 million of our children are dropping out of school. So apparently something's not working. So we thought, okay, what we'll do is we'll use positive peer pressure. We'll use those that are striving, those magnets, to tutor my kids from Lee. Take them into the hood and let them tutor the kids over in Smiley Court and Gibbs Village. Why lower our standards when all we have to do is show them how to come up? When I say I am, you say more than I am. And so, now that we have an issue with this Willie Lynch letter that's manifesting in self-hatred, we decided what we'll do is start our own, not movement, but take a stand. My kids called me one day, 2:30 in the morning, and said, Miss Michelle, one of our friends has been killed, not 1, but 3. And they asked me, what you gonna do? I said, what you gonna do? This is your city. These are our children. And it's up to each of us to take a stand, right? No more HIV. No more fiddling around with the school scores and things like that. No pun intended. But basically, the whole concept, I am more than, is that our children are worth salvaging. They're worth your time. They're worth your talent. They're worth your 10th. And that is what we are trying to do with I Am More Than. And it's just not a black, white, it's everyone. It's the Indians. It's a diverse group of people that are coming together to uplift our city, to take care of our children. And I'm here to ask you today, who are you? What are you more than? And I'll leave you with this. I'm an extremist. I came from a family of extremists that are not bystanders, but are people who are proactive. I am a creative extremist. And one thing that MLK said in the Birmingham jail, they called him an extremist. The church folks. There is a church on every corner in Montgomery, and yet it is closed every Friday and Saturday night. Shame on us with our failing schools. The one thing he said in that letter, he said, was not Jesus an extremist? Love those who hate you. Do good to those who despitefully use you. Was not Abraham Lincoln an extremist? This nation cannot survive both free and slave. Was not Thomas Jefferson an extremist? We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal. So we're all extremists, but it's up to you as to what type of extremist you will be. I'm asking you today, what type of extremist will you be? Will you go to the extremes to help someone that's hungry? Will you go to the extremes to help our children find a way through? Come here, Sydney. Will you go to the extremes to help the homeless, the working poor? Come here, Tori. This baby was supposed to be in that club. And I called her, I think we were talking. And I said, Sydney, she travels to Atlanta. She's a photographer. And she was coming back. At 19, she's a photographer. She's been doing this since she was 15, 13 years old. And I said, Sydney, don't come back to Montgomery. Stay in Atlanta. Enjoy yourself. She was supposed to be there taking pictures the night that young man was killed. Tori, phenomenal young man. He's a rapper. No, he's not a rapper. What'd you say rappers do? Rappers tell lies. That's what I'm talking about. He was supposed to be there. For some reason, they decided not to go. I almost lost my 2 kids. I don't even have children. We have to be spiritually aware. And what I'm telling you today is that we can't wait that our children are crying out in this beautiful city, Montgomery. We cannot wait. And I'm going to leave you with this charge. What are you more than? You're more than an attorney. You're more than a doctor. You're more than a lawyer. You are more than a publisher of a wonderful Newly magazine. There is a call. There's a clarion call. And my question to you today is, will you answer the call to be an extremist, to do what you must to win our children? Thank you. Thank you. I am. Thank you.